The road texture is crazy. So today I'm excited to take you with me to try another racing simulator. Last time we were in London, we tried a racing simulator with a 4090 motion with actuators that he actually put together, and also a 8K VR. This time we're going to visit a friend of mine from the community. He has some really promising motion actuators, plus something that I've never tried before, which is a tension belt. So that should be interesting. I'm all for trying all kinds of motion simulator at this point, as I'm in the lookout for setting up my own rig soon. So yeah, this is going to be exciting. The difference is he has triples. Again, I've raced VR, I've raced triples. That's not a problem for me. It's going to be a good experience. High-end computer as well. Yeah, so I'm excited to give it a try and tell you what I think about the motion system that he has, as well as the entire rig. Let's do a bit of a roundup of everything that you have in here. I do recognize something here that I was a big fan of, which is the...
Thankfully I got that from you, thank you. And replaced the buttons with lit up buttons. I've then got a DD2 wheelbase.
That's the same like I had as well. I had a DD... Was it DD? I think I had the DD1 actually.
Right. So I bought DD2. It's a similar P1X base. I originally had Fanatec inverted pedals, which I replaced with the Acetec Invicta pedals.
How are these supposed to be compared to something like hoisting belt?
I've truthfully not tried the Hossenberg ones, but these are brilliant. You have a go at these, you'll see that they're really, really good.
But in terms of the pricing range and premium, is it kind of like the same like this hoisting belt?
Kind of price, yeah,
right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Much similar.
Fanatec. So Fanatec ecosystem over. You have two screens, so you have that one on top and then the other one.
Yeah. So I originally had the one on the top is a next-gen screen, which is a bit restrictive as to what you can use because you have to load firmware onto it.
Right.
And what it can do. Whereas the one on the left is a Vocor screen, and that you can run whatever you want on it. So I'm using the one on the left with a sat-nav map on it, basically, a track map.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. And then you have the flags as well?
It's got LED flags, and it's got homemade wind sim kit on the back. It's also got the motion on it, which is Qubic Systems Motion.
Qubic system. You know, I don't know if it's because I've not been in the ecosystem for a long time, but I've not really heard about them.
So they came out about a year ago. The actual company have been around for the parent company, which is called Motion Systems. They've been around for a number of years. So Next Level Racing Seat Mover, that's made by these people.
Oh, really? So they're the manufacturers
yeah.
It has the controllers there, and you said you have two, so it comes in a pair of two actuators.
Yeah, front backs, yeah.
Right.
So underneath there are two control units, and where these differ from a lot of the others, they're very powerful, very fast.
800 milliseconds, and that's $5,000 for a pair.
Yeah, euros, yeah.
5,000 euros. Okay, and the travel range? I know people
10 centimeters.
10 centimeters. Okay, so people have been bashing on my video because I was so excited about the travel range on my friend's one. It's like, it's not about the travel range, it's about responsiveness. So yeah, that's true.
What you'll see, it was Game of Muscle made a comment about it's less motion is best motion, and you'll find that the subtle motion, as opposed to huge motion, makes such a difference.
Yeah.
So these are turned down. So when start with the default configuration, these are just over the top. So these are really turned down to actually get them to be comfortable.
Then we have this here, which I mentioned in the intro of the video, which I've never used, which is a belt tensioner.
Yeah. So this is the wonderful guy that made Sim Hub. He designed this himself. So you can basically buy all these parts and make this yourself. It's
Oh, right.
actuator motors, and then sorry, I think they're called servo motors or whatever, but they're quite powerful motors, and they do very subtle pulling on you, and it's really immersive.
I also see that one says rear left and then rear right. So is that they're basically
They are
built
independent.
specifically and independent?
Yeah, so you can have it so that they will pull either or. So when you're going around the corner,
Yeah.
it'll pull into you.
So it does corner as well. It's not just braking. You kind of feeling the G's on the in the corner.
You can configure it to pull corners as well. Yeah, I find it personally, it's a bit immersive braking.
Really?
It doesn't quite work well, in my opinion.
And the computer, of course. And this is you've got this recently after.
Yes, this is after all the pain from Scan and their rubbish delivery times. This is a brand new 4090 i9 13900K with 64 gig of RAM.
Oh, and the race logic.
Yeah. So
Are you not using it?
No, it's not plugged in at the moment. So that's a 3D printed race logic thing. Yeah. It's a case of you get carried away making all these things and then
and not using it. You know, when I buy stuff or make stuff, I feel like I need to use them because otherwise I feel guilty.
Yeah. So I've got, I don't know if you see on the wall there, is a Fanatec F1 steering wheel.
Oh yeah.
So
these, I've never been a fan of these. They seem very small to me.
yeah.
Why do you have two?
So I bought that one second hand off of eBay, and then I bought that one, and I'm really not a fan of either of them. So I've never used.
They're quite small, aren't they?
Yeah. I've been looking at getting a Acetec wheelbase, and I've been waiting for the Acetec wheelbase to come out. It's just come out, but I'm waiting for their quick release. I don't know if you've done any research on the Acetec stuff.
No, not yet.
So what they've done is they've released their own, unlike Fanatec, which you're just locked into Fanatec's ecosystem.
Yeah.
They've released their own quick release, so you can mount anyone else's wheel onto their wheelbase.
Oh, really?
And the benefit of that means that I can get an Asher Racing or whatever wheel and put on their wheelbase. But they haven't released the quick release yet. They're saying it's coming out soon. And I went to the Sim Racing Expo. And it was at the Sim Racing Expo, but it just hasn't come out yet.
And the rig, again, we were talking just earlier about this rig is, so the rig is the SimLab P1, the original one, right? That was amongst the first ones that came out. And then you kind of added the whole frame. And this, as we were talking, is quite heavy, but it's also quite well put together.
Yeah, so the way that I don't know if you've ever seen anyone, how much you've looked into motion, but when you're throwing yourself backwards and forwards, the rig will move. Because it's not bolted to the ground. So to be able to move it back again, to keep it in the middle of the room, I've come up with an ingenious way of levering it onto bits of aluminium profile and sliding it back into place.
Oh, wow.
Because otherwise, over the course of a couple of days, it moves along.
But really is... okay.
So
if you put the rubber mat underneath, wouldn't it not stay in place? Or
it'll still bounce a bit.
Oh, wow.
So what I've done here, these are anti-vibration mats.
Okay.
So the whole thing is resting on anti-vibration mats, but basically it still makes a lot of noise through the floor.
Yeah, it seems like you've been working on this for a bit.
Yeah. So I work from home and obviously get distracted.
Especially with the rig next to you. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
And these are 27-inch?
They're 27-inch G-Sync monitors, Asus G-Sync monitors.
It's gonna be interesting to see how
Yours
it
were
feels.
curved, weren't they?
Yeah,
Yours
it was
were-
curved and they were 32.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've always been like bigger
Yeah.
are the best, but in the same time, I've never tried smaller, so I don't know.
I, looking at yours at the time, I was thinking, oh bugger, I should have gone for that. But I basically, these were actually quite expensive as they were. Very similar price to, I think, to one of the Samsung ones. Yours were Samsung, weren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think very similar. Kind of
with
price.
the G7 Samsung.
That was it, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Should we give it a try?
Okay, so you dodged your head. Yeah, most people smash their head.
Well, it's a reflex. You've seen my rig. I had to go like.
Yeah, same kind of thing. So what I've done.
Yeah.
Down there, you've got the buckle for the seatbelt.
Yeah.
Here, we'll pull these out.
Oh. I'm excited. I'm nervous and excited at the same time.
So it's currently released, so it's going to put it on now.
Ooh.
Right, so that's that. So now we're going to turn the platform on.
Okay.
That's already on. So platform goes on now. It will go clunk clunk.
Mm-hmm.
And it will move.
Ooh. That was quite silent though.
Yeah. So this is a lot more silent than sort of the others. So this is running at 5% now, just to see it moving.
Uh-huh.
So that's centered.
Woo.
So this is only 10 centimeter range, so you can see it's quite a lot.
Oh wow. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So you don't really need much more than 10 centimeters.
That's you're like what, 30 degrees angle or something like that?
So when people say, oh, you need 15 centimetres or whatever, you don't, because
Yeah, that's a lot.
you're going to tip over.
Yeah, true.
So,
Yeah, for me it was because I thought, like, my thinking was like, well, when you brake,
Yeah.
the more travel, the better.
so
But
your front and rear, you've got,
okay, that's a lot of travel.
yeah, so you don't need, so this is running at 5% just to move it around, because otherwise it's quite severe.
Yeah.
So that's there, just showing you how it moves.
That's intense. Oh, that seatbelt is intense. I don't know this track at all. Yeah, that belt is intense. Oh man, I'm loving the vibration, the hum, the bumps, and whoa, too eager. And the belt is just enough. Does it have the lateral disabled?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be great just to see how it feels, if it feels any of the G's, or is it like
Yeah.
for me. Whew! I'm enjoying this. I'm not leaving. You have to drag me out.
That's it. So, go.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm enjoying that a lot better. Yes. I like it. the road texture is crazy. The actuators are really good. I think they're set up the way I would use them, as in a lot of vibration, a lot of up and down on based on the texture of the road and so on. So, with my friend in London, I think he had his quite toned down.
Right.
Now, and that's why it's also quite difficult to compare in a sense, to say, well, this is better, they're more responsive and so on, because he had it quite toned down.
Yeah.
But I really like how this is set up right now. I think I would definitely have mine very similar. I'm wondering if the whole thing moved, because there were a couple of very aggressive. They probably need to straighten the road on the track on Silverstone, because it's quite bumpy. I'm liking the vibration as well. Wait, so there's vibration in the pedals as well.
It's basically the whole thing is vibrating, the whole platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So right now, when it's on idle,
Yeah.
the pedals are vibrating. The rig is not. Now I feel it. This is also the right amount of jolt that I would expect from shifting.
Yeah.
Just but is it the belt or is it the motion?
Both. So
It's both.
the platform's jolting and the belt's jolting as well.
But even the belts are moving separately, individually, which is so freaky, but in the same time so cool. Yeah, they're each individually vibrating. It's not like an unison movement. And the belt tensioner, the belt tensioner. Did you build this?
Yes.
Because I saw it's using SimHub.
Yeah.
And you downloaded a piece of software, and then you've.
So the clever guy that made SimHub has basically done a little project.
Yeah.
And he gives you complete instructions on how to make it, and it's actually really easy. The only downside is you need a 3D printer to print the parts.
I'm so surprised of how rigid this whole
Yeah.
thing is. The amount of vibration that comes through, I would expect these screens to fly off eventually.
So, the screens have basically got this bracket holding them on.
This whole thing.
This whole, and that's keeping them completely stable.
Yeah, that is honestly impressive.
Now, if you try and move, there is no more.
Wow.
This is
What?
a completely different league. This is what you're paying for.
No, that's crazy. Let's see. Again, that's the rig.
Yeah.
But the actuators are making zero noise. No, the way.
No. Like I say, I went and tested a set of PT actuators, and they are so noisy by comparison.
I think I need something like this because I'm on a terraced house.
Yeah.
And again, for me, because I'm probably going to go VR,
Yeah.
I'm not going to have all of this weight. It's only going to be
it'll be lighter,
the weight of the rig, the aluminium profile, the base, and I think it's going to be even quieter.
So these have got a power, they can lift up to 300 kilograms.
Okay, so I can get fat.
Yeah. My platform, with all of this stuff bolted onto it, because it's got the monitors on it as well,
Yeah,
is quite heavy, but it's nowhere near
that kind of.
the fact I can lift it myself. It's not that heavy.
Yeah, these are pretty cool.
Yeah, and like I say, the noisiest part of these actuators is these fans that are in the units underneath. It's very impressive.
Perfect. Thank you for letting me try it. I appreciate it. Now to the joys of getting off. I mean, that was an amazing experience, to be honest. And again, comparing apple to oranges in a sense, because fundamentally people have different tastes in how much motion, how much vibration, how much tactile feel you get from your rig when it comes to the immersion and such. So it's very hard for me to compare from that perspective, because at the end of the day, my friend in London kind of like is less is more, and I can't really judge the actuators quality and so on, because his settings are what I wouldn't use, right? So his the way he wants to experience motion and so on is not the way I want to experience motion. And to be honest, it's also very hard to spend time, countless time configuring, setting it up. You usually do that at home when you have your rig, it's all set up and so on. You put it together and then you configure it and fine tune it the way it feels great for you. So when I do these visits to various friends in the community, in the sim racing community, I can't really set it up and fine tune it for my liking. What I can say is, this visit just now, it just felt so much natural. I think the amount of feedback that came from those actuators was just enough. It was the feeling the humps quite a bit, feeling the G-force a bit, and the belt tensioner. I think that's the biggest revelation for me, because it felt. So most of you would know, in my previous rig, I had a motion chair, and what I've done was to attach to the belt, to the seat belt, a bungee, and that would tighten up when I was braking, when I was going in corners, trying to keep me in place. This felt quite similar and actually a lot better than that setup. So I think if there's one takeaway from today, is that I'm 100% getting a belt tensioner, either making one or getting one pre-made. I might make one, because I think the difference is quite a bit between making yours and buying one new. So that's something that I'm getting 100%, because it just adds to the feeling of G-forces, braking G-forces, corner G-forces, and I really like the fact that both of those belts, straps, had their own motor, so you can also do the cornering G-forces and so on. You feel one tensioning more than the other, which was great. In terms of the actuator kit, the one thing that I was shocked about was how silent it was, and that's something that I really need, because I bought a house and it's a terraced house, right? The walls, the setup is not I'm not gonna have the rig somewhere far away isolated. It's gonna be in my video studio. Nikki's office is gonna be next door. The bedroom is upstairs. And testing this being so darn quiet, it was so impressive. I'm speechless how those actuators make absolutely no sound. Yeah, you pay the premium price, which is 10K for 2 sets, 10,000 euros. That's the current price, which, again, to be honest, it's not that much for how good these things are. So again, kudos to the makers. The Scorpio ones, which are the commercial equivalent of the ones that my friend in London had, which I tried last time, are they're basically almost 7K euros, I think. So the difference, there is a tiny bit of a difference, but the noise that those make, I don't know, it's just, it doesn't compare. It doesn't compare. These are so really well made. Yeah, it really doesn't compare. So yeah, I would 100%. Right now, I think these are my favorite actuators, motion actuators from everything that I've tested. The two that I've tested. I have not tested yet D-Box, so I don't really know what D-Box is all about and how it differs in terms of feel, in terms of, apparently these ones are comparable in terms of the response time to the D-Box ones, but again, I probably need to test D-Box as well. So if anyone out there lives in UK and has a D-Box and wants to host me for a bit so I can try it and film it in the same time, I don't need to film it. So if you just want me to try it, then let me know. I'll come and drive over to you. I think that's the D-Box is the king, in a sense, in the world of motion actuators, and I should test it before I take the decision. But so far, these kind of sold it to me. Not just how quiet they were, but he had the setup on exactly how I like my motion. So yeah, that's what I was impressed with. The rest, the acetic pedals, those were good as well. Again, probably I would need to set them up a bit for my own liking if I get them. Again, opposite to Hoisingveld, I really liked Hoisingveld. I really like how my friend in London had them set up, and they just felt brilliant to me. These, when I talk about these, I'm referring to the brake pedal. Probably need to adjust to adjust a bit more to make it fit my feel. But again, guys, as I mentioned, this is all, it's not very easy to compare this because I've set up the acetic brake pedal how I felt it was the right for me in terms of the brake pressure, but in the same time, is there room for more configuration? Probably. Can I make them feel even better? Probably. Hoisingveld out of the box, not out of the box, the way my friend in London had them set up were just perfection. So yeah, so far, Hoisingveld pedals, the actuators that my friend now in this, that made this video, had here close to Brighton. Wheel, I really like Simicube, how it felt. I don't think I want the DD anymore. I want to change. I want to do something else. Simicube probably. And yeah, I'll get a aluminum profile rig, and we'll see the tensioner, the belt tensioner, and anyways, talking too much. That's a bit my 2 cents now about the setup that I've just experienced. I was like a giggling kid in that rig. I'm not gonna lie, I spent quite a bit on track, and it's really nice for me to be able to test Assetto Corsa Competizione, which is my favorite track. My favorite sim title, alongside my favorite track, Silverstone, with my favorite car, the GT3R Porsche, and being able to compare these sim setups that my friends in the community have on this setup is really good, because it just kind of gives me a sense of where Mon and everything is. In terms of the screens, he had a 27-inch screens. They felt a bit small for me, but again, I don't think that's too much relevant because I'm not planning to do screens at this stage. So that's kind of it. Thanks for watching this video. I don't know if you got any value of it. Let me know. Let me know if you want me to visit more of my friends and try more rigs. and giving you my opinion with them. Until next time, bye.